Hi there. In this video, I plan to discuss how and why I got involved in buying world silver coinage. Maybe this is your story too. I started investing in precious metals way back in 2007 in earnest. My brother and grandfather both collected coins, but mostly as a hobby, not really as an investment. So I'd always been surrounded by coins, but I never really bothered to look into it any more than that. I just knew that some coins were rare, some coins were not. However, when gold broke 1,000 for the first time, I became interested in it not really as an investment, but as a way I thought I could make a fast buck. I thought I'd be able to buy it quick and sell it for a profit, but it wasn't as simple as that. So I dove into the market with both feet, and I quickly made some very costly mistakes, but after a short time, I began to look much deeper into the precious metals market, and it quickly became more significant to me than just a fast buck. And by the end of 2008, I was well aware of the nature of fiat currency, the hyperinflation, the Fed, the central bank, and my investment and savings paradigm was changed forever. Enough about backstory though. World silver coinage. I got involved in world silver coinage initially as a consequence of just silver investing in general. When I first started buying silver, I would buy everything. But I would go to one coin shop regularly for several months, and I would ask if he had any cheap silver. I'm not a rich guy, so I would try to get the most I could for my money. And of course, he would set out his Tupperware bowls full of culls, hold coins, and, surprise, surprise, world silver. And I had no idea what I was buying at the time. I would just pick stuff that looked interesting, or I liked the way it, the lettering on it or the date. And he would just pound a bunch of numbers into a calculator, and I would walk out with this bag of random coins. Then I would take it home, and using either the internet or my coin books, I would dissect every coin as to what country it was, what date it was, if it was rare or not, the fineness, mintages, and so on and so forth. So as a consequence of that, I also became aware of silver blogs, forums, websites, prices, trends, Ron Paul, Peter Schiff, and the whole gamut. I digested so much information in a pretty short amount of time for me. And the deeper I dug, the more information I got, I discovered a lot about my investment style and my own individual tastes. Just how you have car guys, there's also precious metals guys, and that's not really something that you can just read on a website. That's kind of come from your own, your own individual tastes or your flavor. So about 2008, 2009, I'm buying and selling thousands of dollars in gold and silver coins, and I've been on the receiving end of a lot of bad deals. And mostly the bad deals were because of my own unawareness or ignorance as to what I was getting into. So in time, I eventually learned enough to where I could reference, what coins were what and what their finenesses was by memory, and I wasn't always in the disadvantaged position. And after factoring in all I had known about silver and all I had learned about silver and the fundamentals and the economy, I thought to myself, what's better, a 1 ounce silver eagle or 1.5 ounces of just generic bullion, like a 999 round? Okay, probably the 1.5 ounces, more silver. And then I took it a step further and I thought, okay, well, what's better, 1.5 ounces of generic 999 or 2 or 2.5 ounces of world silver? I'm not a rich guy, again, so I think most of us looking at this video would think, well, gee, what's better, 1 ounce or 2 or 2.5 ounces? Who can argue with more is better, especially with silver and gold? I mentioned I'm not a rich guy, so from day one, even though I made a lot of mistakes, my philosophy has been to try and get as much silver as cheaply as possible. I think that's what we all want to do. Be it the best or the worst, you still want to get it as cheap and as close to spot as possible. So in my experiences, I would routinely, after I bought or sold something, I would research kind of what I had done and what the trends were and what was going on. And over and over and over again, world silver coinages just kept popping up as I got the most silver for the least amount of fiat money invested. So over time, I got better and better. I focused more on this, and it got to the point where I could buy as much silver as I had, for dollar, and I never pay spot. Usually at coin shows, coin shops, or especially eBay, if you know what to look for, I could never pay spot again for silver, and it's still that way for you. So you're not too late to jump in on this. I might be cutting my own throat by giving this information, but there's still so much out there, and there's still so much to learn that I'm confident that you'll be able to pick up on it and get silver well below spot if this is something you're interested in learning about. I'll discuss many other aspects of this before I get into each country specifically. So that is basically how I got involved in how I developed and cultivated a taste for world silver coinage. And if my story mirrors some of your experiences, which I hope it does, that might compel you to look more into this investment opportunity. So thanks a lot.